The boxing world was set ablaze recently, when undefeated legend Floyd Mayweather made his thoughts crystal clear about pound-for-pound superstar Inoue the Monster Inoue's career trajectory following Inoue's latest dominant performance against Raymond Cardenas. Mayweather didn't mince words. Inoue needs to be properly tested, and the only way that happens is if he steps in the ring with morogenic model next. This bold declaration from arguably the greatest defensive boxer of all time has sparked intense debate across the boxing community, forcing fans and pundits alike to re-examine Inoue's standing in the sport and what he must do to cement his legacy among the all-time greats. Mayweather's credentials for making such a challenge are unimpeachable. The five-division world champion who retired with a perfect 520 record built his legacy by systematically taking on and defeating the best fighters of his era across multiple weight classes. When Mayweather speaks about what constitutes a true test in boxing, the entire sport listens attentively. His insistence that Inoue must face a model, the Obek former unified super bantamweight champion and two-time Olympic medalist, isn't merely a passing comment from a retired great, but rather a carefully considered assessment from someone who understands better than most what it takes to prove genuine greatness in the sweet science. This represents far more than casual commentary. It's a direct challenge from one generational talent to another, a gauntlet thrown down that could shape how history remembers Inoue's incredible career. When we examine Inoue's recent destruction of Raymond Cardenas, while undoubtedly impressive in its execution, it unfortunately fits into a concerning pattern that has developed in the monster's career trajectory. Time and again, we've witnessed Inoue deliver spectacular performances against opponents who were frankly outclassed. From the opening bell, Mayweather's comments suggest growing impatience with this trend, pushing instead for matchups that will force Inoue to dig deeper than ever before and showcase the full breadth of his extraordinary talent. Econ represents precisely this kind of stern challenge, a technically brilliant, physically powerful switch hitter with championship pedigree and the amateur background to potentially trouble even a fighter of Inoue's caliber. The use's aggressive, high-pressure style and devastating body attack could compel Inoue to reveal new dimensions of his game that have remained hidden during his recent run of dominant performances. Delving deeper into why model makes for such an intriguing and necessary challenge, we must consider the Obek fighter. Impressive credentials. With a professional record of 12-19 COSAT, model's sole loss came by close decision against Marlon Topples in a fight many observers felt could have gone either way. More importantly, he boasts victories over established champions like Daniel Roman in a masterful performance to claim the WBA and IBF titles and Ronnie Rios. This combination of elite amateur pedigree, including 2 Olympic medals and proven professional accomplishments, makes him arguably the most complete dangerous fighter Inoue would have faced since moving up to the 120-pound division. Mayweather, with his keen eye for talent and competition, likely views this as exactly the type of career-defining fight that separates good champions from the pantheon of all-time greats from a purely stylistic standpoint. An Inoue model clash presents fascinating tactical questions that would test the monster in ways we haven't seen before. Akhmadaliev's pressure-fighting approach, combining relentless forward movement with educated punch selection, would provide the ultimate examination of Inoue's defensive capabilities and his ability to operate effectively off the back foot. While we've witnessed Inoue display brilliant counter-punching skills throughout his career, he hasn't yet faced an opponent with Akhmad's unique blend of technical proficiency, physical strength, and mental fortitude. Someone both willing and able to walk him down with intelligent, calculated pressure rather than wild aggression. Mayweather, the defensive savant who made a career out of solving such puzzles, undoubtedly wants to see how Inoue would handle this particular challenge. Would Inoue be able to maintain his offensive output while dealing with constant pressure? Could he keep it model at bay with his jab, or would he need to reinvent his approach mid-fight? These are the questions that make this potential matchup so compelling. Beyond the pure sporting merits of the fight, there's a significant commercial dimension that Mayweather, ever the astute boxing businessman, undoubtedly recognizes. Inoue Akhmadaliev showdown has all the makings of a legitimate pay-per-view event on both sides of the Pacific, with massive appeal in the US, Japan, and throughout Central Asia. The narrative possibilities are endless. Olympic standout versus devastating knockout artist. Technical mastery versus brute power. Central Asian grit versus Japanese precision. This is exactly the type of high-stakes, globally relevant matchup that could elevate Inoue from being a boxing superstar in Japan to a truly global sporting icon. Mayweather, who perfected the art of building super fights throughout his career, likely sees this as the perfect opportunity for Inoue to expand his brand while simultaneously proving his greatness in the ring. Some critics might accuse Mayweather of hypocrisy, even his own selective matchmaking during the latter stages of his career. However, this comparison overlooks a crucial distinction. By the time Mayweather became more selective with his opponents, he had already established his bona fides with victories over elite competition like Diego Corrales, Jose Luis Castilla in their controversial first meeting, and Oscar de la Hoya. His message to Inoue appears to be that the monster needs these kinds of career-defining fights now during his physical prime, rather than waiting until later in his career when his skills might begin to diminish. At 31 years old, Inoue is undoubtedly at the peak of his powers, the perfect time to take on the most dangerous challenges available. Inoue's team has demonstrated willingness to face tough opposition in the past, as evidenced by his thrilling battles with Nonito Donaire and his recent victory over Marlon Topples. However, Mayweather's comments suggest he believes the Japanese phenom needs to